This year was the 40th anniversary of one of the deadliest events of the 1980s that not only took 269 lives, but also revived the dying flames of the Cold War. The incident remains one of the most terrifying examples of the cruel nature of following rules without any regard for human life. On the 1st of September 1983, Korean Airlines Flight 007 was shot down by a Soviet Su-15 fighter jet. The Boeing 747, named KAL Flight 007, had left the John F. Kennedy Airport in New York on the 31st of August 1983, bound for the capital of South Korea, Seoul. But the pilots made a grave mistake that cost 269 people their lives, including U.S. Congressman Larry McDonald. The flight departed from New York at 11:50 p.m. local time. No one could have had the slightest idea of the horrifying tragedy that was about to happen. The Boeing 747 started to deviate north of its assigned route. Completely unaware of their deadly mistake, the pilots steered the plane into Soviet territory. The flight started to flicker on the Soviet radars. What followed was a state of utter tension and confusion on all sides. Soviet Su-15 fighter jets took off to take care of the problem. But what made the situation even more tense was that the Soviet fighter jets were also being watched by U.S. spy planes at the same time. In an interview with CNN 15 years after the incident, the Soviet fighter pilot Corporal Gennady Osipovich told the news station that when he saw the passenger jet, he wondered if it was a civilian aircraft. "I could see 2 rows of windows, which were lit up," describing the 747's configuration. Military cargo planes don't have such windows. Flying more than 200 miles off its due course, Korean Airlines Flight 007 was now in serious danger. "I had a job to do. I started to signal to the pilot in international code. I informed him that he had violated our airspace. He did not respond," Osipovich claimed. He also claimed that he fired warning shots, but the Korean Airlines pilots did not notice them. Then came the final nail in the coffin. The flight was in communication with Tokyo Air Traffic Control and received permission to increase its altitude. But this maneuver proved to be their last, as it only confirmed the Soviet suspicion that the jet was not a passenger jet. Osipovich fired 2 air-to-air missiles near Sakhalin Island and declared that the aircraft had been destroyed. "My orders were to destroy the intruder. I fulfilled my mission," Osipovich told CNN. Several important people or their loved ones were on the flight. A New Jersey businessman, Hans Ephraimson App, who boarded his daughter on the unfortunate plane, said, "Her death was a great loss to her generation. She was one of the 269 people who were killed in midair." The American president at the time, Ronald Reagan, described the incident as a crime against humanity and an act of barbarism. He suspended all Russian passenger flights to the U.S. The incident was considered the greatest disturbance in the Cold War since the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. The USSR initially denied being responsible for the incident, but when intercepted Soviet communications came into light, the government backtracked and claimed that they destroyed the Boeing 747 because it was a spy plane. The bodies of the victims were never discovered, and this led to the formation of many conspiracy theories. Some said the Soviets destroyed the bodies to hide evidence, while others speculated that maybe the passengers were imprisoned rather than killed. But it is generally believed, as Hans Ephraimson App said, the aircraft crashed into the Sea of Japan with most passengers smashed to pieces or drowning.